Hello, j'espère que vous allez bien. Aujourd'hui on se retrouve dans une nouvelle vidéo qui est particulière puisque non seulement c'est la première fois que je tourne dans ce qui est mon nouveau bureau dans lequel je me suis installée il y a maintenant un mois, mais surtout c'est la première fois que je propose une interview sur cette chaîne. J'ai été contactée par la presse du film Pleasure, un film qui a été réalisé par Ninja Thyberg qui sort le 20 octobre au cinéma, et on m'a proposé non seulement de voir le film en avant-première mais surtout d'interviewer la réalisatrice et l'actrice principale, chose à laquelle j'ai dit oui sans savoir du tout ce que ça allait donner et en sortant totalement de ma zone de confort puisque je n'avais jamais fait ça et que journaliste c'est un métier et c'est définitivement pas le mien, mais j'ai adoré cette expérience et je suis très flattée d'avoir eu cette opportunité de pouvoir vous proposer ce genre de contenu.
Good morning.
Morning.
You here for business or pleasure?
Pleasure.
Do you know what you're here for?
Yes.
Any no's, do's, or don'ts?
No.
Are you ready to make a banana happy? Suck it.
I'm here to be the next big porn star.
Hey, I came to fuck shit up. I seen too much. I want too much.
Sexy, be sexy.
Who's the girl?
That's the new Spiegler girl.
What's a speaker girl?
They're like the A-listers of porn.
Hey, pick up the phone. Who's bold enough to try and call my bluff?
I want to be a speaker girl.
Your social media is pretty small. You have no fan base yet.
Can't speak, just give me a little tap, and that means, like, chill out.
Yeah, she definitely can't tap you.
Everybody's gonna want to be booking you for crazier and crazier shit.
Lick my fucking shoe.
Don't you want to see anything else in LA besides a fucking porn set?
No.
So egotistic.
Nobody touches my baby girls like that. That's really fucked up.
Your ankle missing. I'm finna say so they check ballistic. We don't waste time, but just make decision. Try to tell them all, but they can't just listen.
Do you trust me?
I trust you.
Why aren't you like doing something better with your life and trying to be a singer?
I just love cock.
Pleasure, c'est un film qui se passe à Los Angeles où Bella Cherry, une jeune Suédoise de 20 ans, décide de s'installer pour devenir une porn star. Du coup, ça vient montrer ce qu'est l'industrie du porno aujourd'hui à travers le female gaze, donc à travers son regard à elle de jeune actrice. J'en ai déjà parlé à de nombreuses reprises sur cette chaîne, mais c'est vrai que la sexualité, la pornographie, les travailleuses du sexe, c'est des sujets qui m'intéressent, qui m'interpellent et sur lesquels je me renseigne souvent. C'est un film qui m'a particulièrement touchée parce qu'il vient montrer quelque chose qu'on n'a finalement jamais vu, les dessous d'une industrie, à travers une fiction, mais surtout à travers un regard de femme. C'est quand même excessivement important parce qu'on change de point de vue et qu'on sait quand même que cette industrie-là du X, elle est dominée par le regard masculin. Donc j'ai trouvé ça très intéressant, et puis parce que finalement c'est un film qui ose montrer ce qu'on ne voit pas tout en faisant un récit hyper touchant à travers le personnage de Bella Cherry, et du coup ça m'a beaucoup plu. C'est un film qui est violent, qui montre des choses qu'on n'a pas nécessairement envie de voir, mais qui montre aussi que finalement c'est une industrie comme une autre et que ce sont des jobs comme d'autres jobs. C'est réaliser des films d'une autre manière et autrement, vu que c'est des films de sexe, mais ça reste juste un boulot et ça désacralise aussi ça. Je trouve que c'est assez essentiel de parler de ces choses-là aujourd'hui et que ce film il tombe à point nommé dans un moment où on est quand même dans une société post-mouvement MeToo, où on laisse enfin la parole aux femmes et que là une réalisatrice s'empare de ce sujet. One of my first questions is that you've been doing a short film about the same subject like 6-7 years ago now. Why you choose to talk about pornography and the pornography industry?
Yeah, I've been interested in the subject for a very long time. I've been working on it like from various angles for like my whole adult life basically. I wrote an essay about porn when I studied gender studies, and that's where I got this inspiration for a short film. After when I was in Cannes and Sundance with the short film, I said that I wanted to portray the real people behind the porn stereotypes, but I had actually never met anyone from the actual industry or never been on a porn set, because everything in the film was based on like books or documentaries or like the research that I had done from my home, from my computer. Or I knew already when I made a short film that I wanted to make a longer version if I had the chance. So and when I got a lot of attention from the short film, I felt like, okay, now maybe I can actually do this. And then so I decided to go to LA and do like research, and I didn't think that it would go that far, but I like it. I actually were like going back and forth between Stockholm and Los Angeles for 5 years, and really digging my way into the core center of the industry. And yeah, so I wanted to find like the human side and the real people, and show another side than what is usually shown in the porn films. And I think to me this film is like a female gaze exposing the male gaze. The male gaze is very present in everywhere in media, like all types of media images. So I think it was just a good way of using it as like an extreme example, but I think to show certain type of power structures, but they are actually like they exist everywhere. I think it's not just in porn.
She's just saying women should have more power in what happens to them at work.
Well, I'm also hinting at the fat fucks who expect us to go over there and fuck them to get work.
Yeah, I don't know fuck fat fucks anymore.
Au bout de 6 mois et 600 castings, je crois qu'elle a trouvé Sofia qui, elle, n'était pas actrice justement. Et donc c'est son premier rôle, et ensemble, ensuite, elles ont préparé le film pendant des mois et elles l'ont tourné en 2018.
How was it for you to direct you, but also to direct other actors that were from the porn industry?
I mean, in a way it was easy to direct Sofia, because when we started shooting, we had prepared for so long. We knew each other so well. We had auditioned, like, because everyone who got the part first had to audition and meet Sofia and do scenes with her, so that she got to say if she wanted to do, like, if she didn't feel comfortable with anyone, they didn't get the part. So we had already like worked so closely together, so it wasn't that it wasn't that difficult. It was more like I could actually like even use Sofia in order to direct the other actors, sometimes speaking Swedish to Sofia, like explaining like, I have a problem here, I need to get this person more into this direction, and can you like maybe help me by doing this and that. But when it comes to like directing the other actors, they are like, they're all different, and it wasn't, I mean, the only time where it felt like it was something other than just directing an actor, whatever type of actor, it was when it had to do with like male nudity, for example, like erections, and like because that's all very like that's a completely different thing in a way. Making sure, of course, that Sofia were comfortable, but also that they felt comfortable. They're all really good actors, and I'm also quite used to working, because everyone is not, some of them are porn actors, but some of them are just like amateurs, like people working behind the camera usually. But I've been working with amateurs a lot before, so it wasn't a new thing.
Ce qui est remarquable dans ce film, c'est la création de ce personnage, et du coup la performance de Sofia est juste bouleversante quand on se dit qu'elle n'a jamais rien tourné avant. C'est très courageux de sa part, et c'est vraiment hyper ambitieux et remarquable, voilà.
So what did you learn from that experience?
I mean, I learned 1,000 things from doing this project. I learned a lot about the industry and the people in the industry, but I also learned and discovered a lot of things about myself. If someone had told me 4 or 5 years ago that I would have done this, I would have thought that they were crazy, because the idea of acting had never ever crossed my mind. So I mean, like, this movie has in so many ways really changed my life. It's changed the way I view feminism, it's changed the way that I view the porn industry, it's changed the way that I talk about porn and the way that I talk about feminism, but it's also changed how I view myself. And for me, I think the most important things that I learned was about myself and what I'm capable of and who I am as a person, and being brave and putting yourself in situations where you feel uncomfortable, or doing things that you thought that you couldn't do, just to prove it to myself that I can. So it's been a really important project to me in a lot of ways.
Det är svårt att inte gråta när jag tänker på oss två nu.
Damn!
Du var solskenet, jag var ensam.
Yay! Yay!
Pour ce qui est de l'exercice de l'interview, c'est quelque chose que j'avais jamais fait et j'ai vraiment trouvé ça difficile parce que ça se prépare et que je savais pas à quel point, étant donné que je connaissais déjà pas mal du projet du film parce que j'avais lu le dossier de presse, parce que j'avais vu le film, parce que j'avais fait une conférence déjà avec la réalisatrice et l'actrice, je savais pas à quel point je pouvais poser les questions et surtout à quel point il fallait qu'elles répondent à mes attentes ou aux vôtres. Et ça a été difficile en fait de trouver par quel biais prendre l'interview. Ce que j'ai décidé de faire, c'est de leur poser des questions sur le pourquoi et le comment on fait un film comme ça.
Do you had any goal when you started it? Like, why?
I think I want the audience to think, and I want people to talk about the subject. But I mean, I think both talk about porn because it's such a huge part of our culture. So that's like one part of it. It's such a huge part of our culture, but people, it exists in a world of shadow, and we don't really pretend that we consume it. It's just to show like patriarchal structures, and both in like the society or in how like in a lot of industries, but also in media images. So it's also, I'm also using the porn industry as a metaphor or an allegory to paint a picture of like power structure in our society.
I'm very proud. Like this, I think I have a hard time imagining that I will ever feel that I've achieved something in the way that I feel like I have with this movie, because like, I usually say that I wish that I had seen something like Pleasure when I was younger, because porn affects so much of our lives. And even if I don't think I've ever viewed porn as reality in that sense, like it's fictional, but I've met a lot of people, and a lot of people that I've had relationships with have seen porn as reality, and that in a sense has affected me a lot, and porn has affected a lot of my intimate relationships. So for me, it's very important, like for especially young women and young men as well, to see this movie and to think, because I think and I hope that this will make a difference, not only for the people in the industry, but for our younger generations and the way that we view and consume porn today, because in a lot of ways we don't consume it in a healthy way, which I think is really important for our quality of life and the quality of relationships that we have.
Sur leur relation évidemment, et puis plus sur un aspect de réalisation, ce qu'elles avaient appris, ce dont elles étaient fières, quelles avaient été les difficultés auxquelles elles avaient dû faire face.
The hard part, like the things that are abusive and stuff like that, I had created like a mental armor or like emotional, like that I could, because I feel like that it's also important if you want to deal with something, that you have to be able to like not be too emotional about it, to keep some kind of like objectivity, even if I don't think that really is ever possible, but like as far as possible. No, I just felt that the more I were digging, the more interesting it was, because you always find new sides and aspects and layers, and so and also this job, like both like writing, doing research, casting, shooting, editing, all of that, my job always changed. Like I never do the same thing for too long, but like yeah, so I know.
Can I ask you what was your best and your worst memory from the shooting to each of you?
I think my best memory or my best experience is that the Ravika who plays Joy, she became my best friend and she still is, which I'm very, very happy about. But I think my worst experience is probably shooting some scenes that it's not in the movie now, but I had to shoot a couple of scenes where I had to be really mean towards Joy, and we had became so close friends, so it was really hard. I was kind of like disappointed with myself and my character, because Ruvik is an amazing person, so I think that was the worst experience. But other than that, like, obviously it's been a crazy project, but it's the adventure of my life. Like, I will never do anything that compares to this, so this project will and has been a very like memorable in a loving way. Yeah.
And what's your the hardest part about shooting that movie, and the thing you're the most proud of?
The most proud is Sofia, that I found her, and also like the that I helped like in getting her to make that performance. So that's of course like an overall, like more of a general thing. When the actors are having like fun, that's you become so happy as a director. I think the worst, yeah, it's always like when the actors are like going through hard times, and so some scenes that were really tough, and where Sofia had to go through like hard things to like reach those emotions, because also like I feel guilty in a way for making her do those things, like or going through those emotions, because even though you're acting, like to access those the emotions are still real, even though you're acting. The situation is fiction, but the emotions are real, so you're like going through those emotions, and that's hard.
Voilà, j'espère que cette interview vous plaira, j'espère que ça vous donnera envie de découvrir ce film et d'encourager ce genre de cinéma-là qui est quand même particulier, plutôt indépendant et qu'il faut quand même voir absolument parce qu'il éveille les consciences et qu'il permet d'avoir un nouveau point de vue sur le sujet, puisque j'avais vraiment jamais vu ça avant. Surtout n'hésitez pas à me faire vos retours si ce genre de choses vous plaît, et bah pourquoi pas développer ce format pour d'autres promotions de films. Franchement ça m'a fait trop kiffer, et maintenant que je l'ai fait une fois je pourrais le faire 1000 fois et ça ne sera que mieux parce que je vais m'améliorer dans cet aspect là.
You both have the tattoo Bella Cherry.
Yeah.
Can you explain me the story about it?
I wasn't allowed to change anything with my appearance. And I love tattoos, so I kind of begged the Ninja to let me have a tattoo, and then we came up with the name Bella Cherry just a couple of days prior to starting shooting the movie, and then the day before the first shooting day we decided that we were gonna get the tattoo. Together.
Voilà, c'était l'interview de Nina et de Sofia. J'espère sincèrement que ça vous a plu, que ça vous a touché quelque part, appris quelque chose et surtout donné envie de découvrir le film. Si vous y allez, n'hésitez pas à me faire vos retours, j'aimerais beaucoup en discuter avec vous. Merci encore au Public System Cinéma de m'avoir invité et aux filles de m'avoir reçu et accordé cette interview. Je vous souhaite de passer une très belle semaine, continuez à aller au cinéma et à encourager les films qui en valent la peine. Je vous embrasse et à la prochaine. Bisous.
I want to be a Spiegler girl.
Your social media is pretty small. You have no fan base.